Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and we are taking a look at the Canik TP9SFX, which I think I'll just call the FX from now on. The Canik TP9SFX, FX, whatever, represents a tremendous value in firearms in that basically what they're promising you is that we'll sell you a gun for $500 that will perform for guns that cost $800. Now, so let's open up the box, see what we get. So first of all, one of the things that I don't currently have inside the box is the instruction manual, because it kind of came on the other side of this. It came on this side like this, and I went ahead and stripped it off. I will say the manual is pretty good. One of the best features of this manual is that it will tell you which plates go with what optics. Very, very useful. And nice that you can just take that out, because you're not going to use it all that much. So what do we get in the box? Well, first of all, we get, what is this? This is a trigger lock. This is a chamber flag that I put in there. We have, come to 2 magazines, magazine loader, holster, the gun. Wait, what else we got in here? Let's pull out some more crap. So this, let me look so I can open this properly, which I didn't do. There we go. It's a bunch of little things here. We got fiber optic inserts. We have a charging handle because reasons. Wrenches and screws, and you can adjust the size of the magazine release, make it bigger. It looks like maybe one size bigger, one size smaller. I haven't really played with anything in this box. There are a lot of accessories in here. They're trying to give you a lot of stuff for the money. Let's go over here. Let's go look at the other side a little bit. We have a brush, a nice nylon brush, a nice pull-through rod, 4 optics plates, and another back strap. There didn't seem to be a big difference between this back strap, one on the gun, and that one. That might just be slightly bigger, but not much. The holster comes with is decent. You can adjust it. It looks like you can adjust the tension here by tightening and loosening the screw. And it's a very simple Kydex holster, which would do well at the range or competition. But what are we talking about? We're talking about the Canik TP9SFX. Let's get this box out of the way. There's a lot of box here. Let's get it out of the way. Put that over there. We're gonna put manual over there. Pan down just slightly. Let's see, some nice to dress up the frame while we're doing this. I'm gonna check that it's not loaded. Check this magazine is not loaded. Double check one more time. I'm gonna put the magazine in the gun. And finally, after going through all the stuff that is in the box, we have the TP9SFX. And like I mentioned to you before, this is something that represents a tremendous value. That this gun is basically an entry-level competition pistol. And it's supposed to compete very well against things like the VP9 long slide and the Walther Q5 match. Whatever those flavors of long slide, striker fired, higher end pistols are, this is supposed to compete for much less money. Now, does it do that? We'll get there. We'll get there. First of all, I would say I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks. I think it's an attractive looking gun. I like the two-tone finish. I like you got the black frame, you got the kind of contrast with the gray backstrap and gray slide, black barrel. It's a handsome looking gun, if nothing else. And we'll go through the features the way I usually do it. Bottom to top. We'll start with the magazines. These are unfortunately 10-round magazines. The gun comes with 2. I have 3. The gun comes with 2. 3 would have been nice. These are Mech-Garv made magazines. And basically all of the TP9 magazines, full-size TP9 magazines, will fit in here. The original TP9, the original, was like a straight copy of the Walther P99. and I don't believe that's compatible with this. Well, the original Walther P99s will not fit because this uses a button release. Although it's got the cut there. Huh. I wonder. However, these all flavors of TP9 these magazines will fit in all flavors of TP9. Very good, high quality macrame magazines. No problem with these. So you got a little bit of beveling, not really too much, a little bit. The magazine's going pretty easily. So this gun is a licensed copy of the Walther P99. And that's a good place to start with because the Walther P99 is a great gun. I own one. I liked it. I kind of eventually just got bored of it and sold it out of collection, but the Walther P99 is a good gun. And if you hold this grip, you can tell that this gun feels like a Walther P99. If you ever shot a Walther P99 for any length of time, the grip very much feels like a Walther P99. You got good texturing in the sides, in the front, in the back. Not the most aggressive thing ever, but it's pretty good. The gun overall fits pretty well in your hand. The magazine release is a little bit extended. I told you can adjust that. I think this says M, which I assume means medium. And I assume there's one size smaller, one size bigger. However, I like it. Don't seem to feel the need to change it. Slide release on the left side only. Basically no controls on the right side. And the slide release itself is also just a little bit extended. And I like it. There is no manual safety. There's no Walther P99 decocker on top. Got slide serrations in the rear and in the front. They're pretty good. This is, of course, where you remove the optics plate, remove the plate, the cover plate, I suppose, that contains the rear sight. These are Warren tactical rear sights, and I like the sight picture. Let's see if I get a good look at that. I believe this is not showing up super well on camera because the camera is focusing on the rear sight. There's a little bit of air in this picture, but I do like these sights. I like the way they present. I think they're excellent sights. You have a cocking indicator, not a loaded chamber indicator, a cocking indicator. So when you pull the trigger, that will disappear. I could take it or leave it. It's kind of cool. It doesn't really get in the way. I guess I like it. An interesting feature. Keep in mind that if you do remove this cover plate for optics, you will remove the rear sight. Like I said before, there are basically no controls on the right side of the gun. However, the magazine release can be reversed. I like the machining cuts on, basically glare reduction cuts on top of the gun. They look nice. If nothing else, they look nice. I don't know if they actually reduce glare, but they're attractive and I like them. Trigger guard, trigger. I like the actual design of this trigger. If you look at the trigger, this is a drop safety. This is what this is. This is a drop safety. This is not a stopping you from accidentally pulling the trigger safety. You put your finger inside the trigger, it's going to go off. This is a drop safety. And when you push on the blade here, you deactivate the drop safety. And I like how this blade is flush with the rest of the trigger. That is a nice touch. That's something I don't like on Glocks. I think every Glock pistol will have it stick out just a little bit, and it becomes annoyance after a while. And the trigger is great, like a lot of people say. The Canik triggers have great triggers. Canik guns have great triggers. Oh, it's not cocked. It's like, wow, that's a lot of resistance there. And I just knocked my tripod. It's okay. Very crisp. Very short reset. You know, this is actually really, really nice for a striker-fired gun. This is almost like a single-action trigger. You know, striker-fired guns usually have a little bit of mechanical action going on, but this is almost a single-action trigger, if not a single-action trigger. Some information, Century Arms. Where's that Made in Turkey logo? Where's yeah, there we go. Made in Turkey. Some people care about that. I don't care about that. You have these lightning cuts, which look nice. Fiber optic front sight. I tend not to see this if I'm, especially if I'm at an indoor range. I typically don't see the red fiber optic, even though it looks very obvious now. In indoor ranges, I really don't see it because there isn't light coming directly on top of my front sight, so I don't. It's just black to me. I believe this is a 5-inch barrel. Kind of has those high power contours to it. Nice Picatinny space here. I don't know, maybe just more lightning cuts. And overall, it's like I said, it's a very attractive gun. Now, how does it shoot? I will say it is a pretty soft shooting gun, and typically I can get on target pretty fast. I noticed that with this gun, compared to other guns, you can kind of get on target faster. It seems like I could shoot faster with this gun. And it is noticeable. It just seems like when I'm shooting, again, I can just get back on target faster than with other guns. I typically shoot a lot more mid-sized or compact size, whatever you want to call them, like Glock 19 size 9mm guns, and going to something like this, which isn't all that much heavier. You can look up the weight, it's probably like 30 ounces. The gun is really not all that heavy. And the recoil impulse is pretty good. It's still a gun. It's still a firearm. But as far as 9mm handguns, it's probably one of the softest shooting ones. So how's the accuracy of this gun? Because that's the selling point, right? That's what we're all here for. And I'll say that, in my experience, the Canik TP9SFX is quite accurate. This is 7 yards unsupported. I never shoot supported. 7 yards. I think I might have ripped this one. I just tore that one. 7 yards. It's just great groups at 7 yards. I didn't even show them this correctly. There's so much paper here. Look at that. It was like 4 shots in the bullseye. 7 yards. What about 10 yards? This is 10 yards. Still, okay. These are a little better. This is kind of when I first got the gun. So that's a little better right there. I will say that if you do your job and take your time, you can basically get every shot in this circle here, whatever the size, like the size of your hand or fist, about the size of your fist. If you do your job at 15 yards, you can get all your shots in this size target, whatever this is, whatever this 5-inch, 4 or 5 inch circle. Do your job, you can get every shot in there at 15 yards, standing unsupported all day long. So now, it's an accurate gun. I'll give it that. It's a fairly soft shooting gun. Is it a reliable gun? No and yes. So I will say that this gun needed an extensive break-in period. Like 200 rounds. And what was happening was all the while getting fantastic accuracy, I would pull the trigger, click, and the gun would just not cycle enough to reliably feed the gun. It was basically, when I first got it, it was basically a manually operated gun. Click, no, okay. Click, no, no, okay. Oh, stovepipe. Stovepipe. Great for like malfunction clearance drills. So yeah, the slide was simply not going back with enough force. Again, I hit my camera. I'm sorry. The slide was not going back with enough force to reliably cycle this gun. And it took like 200 rounds before it really got where it was supposed to be. And only was it, first of all, a manually operated gun out of the box. The ejection pattern was completely wild. The casings would go this way, then they go this way, then they go that way. It's like all over the place. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that before. Casings were just going everywhere. But after about 200 rounds, kind of everything worked itself out. Everything was okay, and I do really like the gun. I did take it to like a pretty low stakes competition a few days ago, where it was basically a slow fire contest at my local range for Thanksgiving, and I did okay. Didn't win. You know, there's always someone better than me. There's always someone worse than me. To be honest, never the best. But I think I did respectably. Out of like 30, 40 people, I was probably top 10. That counts. So the Canik, assuming it's working reliably, is a gun you could take to the range and compete with good results. Good results. Now, what is a gun like this good for? I think first and foremost, this is a range gun. This is a competition gun. I don't think it's a concealed carry gun. I think it's just too long and too bulky. I would carry something like a Smith & Wesson Shield. Even as a home defense, as a defensive gun, like, I don't know. Like, you know what worries me? These holes right here. I just worry like dirt's going to get inside here and it's going to jam something up. To be fair, the barrel is pretty close to the slide against this. Like, it's a very close tolerance. There isn't a lot of space there for stuff to get inside. But I really do consider this a range gun, a competition gun, first and foremost. I think that's what it's meant for. That's what it's designed for. That's what its intention is. And I believe that's what it should be used for. If you don't want to do that, if you want to make it push into a defensive role, a concealed carry role, especially with those controls that kind of stick out. I don't know about carrying this. Don't carry this. There we go. Don't carry this. Maybe more home defense gun. You know, I would be more accepting of that idea. But I think first and foremost, this is a competition gun. This is a range gun, especially with an optic on top. That's what I believe it should be used for. Now, there is the the consideration. What about the new one, the new flavor, the new Mate, whatever it is, the M-E-T-E, the new Canik one? That is, you know, that is the latest and greatest offering from Canik. And Canik is actually pretty good, or I don't know, good or bad, but they will come out with like a new model like every year, and they're all just slight, just ever so slight incremental improvements of the gun. And I would not be so concerned about chasing the latest and greatest model. I think the Mate has a slide release on the right side. That's important to you. I think the Mate, what it will do is on the Mate, you can keep the rear sight if you take off the optic cover. On this one, it has to come off. That's good and bad because that means, and this gun you can pretty much mount wherever you want. Because anything you want should fit on here. With the Mate, you're going to have a smaller footprint. I believe you're going to have a smaller footprint. You might have trouble fitting some optics on there. So if that's not important to you, if optics options are not important to you, you just get the Mate. If shooting this left-handed is important to you, get the Mate. If you don't care about those things, then I think the SFX is a pretty good gun. And if you get this on a discount because it's not the latest and greatest model, I wouldn't worry about it. I would say go ahead, buy it. I picked this up for like $500 in my local gun store. It was like just about $500. And for $500, I do think it is an exceptional value. Now, keep in mind, any gun you get, especially if you're going to use it for a defensive situation, you really should put at least 200 rounds through it and make sure it's working properly, because this did not. If I had taken this straight, like, oh, I'm just going to pick up my Canik SFX and go right to the match, I would have embarrassed myself. Flat out embarrassed myself. Is what I would have done. And by the way, the reason I had this ammo out is because I wanted to mention that this is what I was firing when it wasn't working properly. PMC Bronze 124 grain, which has worked great in everything that I've put it in. That's what I was using mostly in that 200 round break-in period. And also I was using a little bit of this, I don't know, what's this? Oh, Gecko ammo from, I think I got this from Norma or Ammo Shop Online. I think it was Ammo Shop Online. So I was using quality ammo. It wasn't the ammo, it was the gun. However, after 200 rounds, the gun pretty much fixed itself up, and it works great. Sometimes guns need a certain break-in period, and you got to keep that in mind. At this $500 price point, what are you giving up? You know, if you get a SIG or an H&K, or even a Glock, out of the box, you expect those guns to work 100%, and they typically do. So if you're going to get a price point gun, and $500 for like a competition gun is a price point gun, then you're gonna have to take what it gives you. So I guess this is Steven from the Even Steven channel with my review of the Canik TP9SFX. I think it is a great gun. I think that, like any gun, you really got to test it out and make sure it's working properly. But I think it is an excellent value, and I think it compete. I don't think it's going to beat those guns, but I think it's going to compete very well. If you do your job, I think you can do well in those competitions, or just shooting at the range. This review has gone on long enough, so thank you for sticking around for my ranting and raving. I know I've been gone for a while, and it's good to be back. Thank you, and goodbye.